If you were forced into a mission that could affect the entire world, what would you do? Leon S. Kennedy has just been sent on another gruesome mission involving a horde of bloodthirsty zombies and the reemergence of another killer virus. And this time, a virus monster has just been added into the mix. I'm here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the G-Virus in Resident Evil Degeneration. This airport is soon going to be infested with hundreds of killer zombies. Years before the event of this movie, a news reporter shows the destruction occurring in Raccoon City, an event which rocked the entire world and spawned a deadly virus that's about to make its grand return. She informs the viewers that this red mist is all that's left after the military fired a rocket which destroyed the entire city. A potential 100,000 people were killed, with the president being criticized on the action, and he announced his resignation because of the media pressure. The Umbrella Corporation was forced to close after its stock plummeted in Europe, and panic was spreading across the world in massive numbers. The Republic of Bajri, led by this creepy man, General Grande, announced that they're sponsoring terrorism. And now this vaccine company, Will Pharma, has established a research facility in Harvardville, which is going terribly wrong. Arriving in Columbus, Ohio, this good-looking Lady Claire meets with her old friend, greeting the woman and admitting that she's been looking tired recently due to her new boyfriend. Oh dear, that's not good. The aunt teases her and asks questions if she's lying to cover up the fact that she's constantly working on her FDA job. Claire reminds her that she doesn't work for the FDA, but a human rights organization called TerraSave. That's when this little girl, Ronnie, complains about being tired. Ronnie's aunt here asks Claire to watch over her while she gets the limousine, leaving the two to introduce themselves. And it's this little innocent situation that's about to take a horrific turn for the worse. They watch on TV as protesters do their thing outside of the airport, awaiting the arrival of this evil Senator Ron Davis, who's interviewed about his role of special advisor to Will Pharma Corporation, joking to a news reporter regarding the results of human test subjects. This sketchy-looking guy, Frederick, questions American humor before apologizing to Claire for his snide comment. They discuss how crazy the airport has gotten, as Frederick here insists that he can't wait any longer, deciding to get a taxi outside. Little does Claire know that she should never trust a glasses guy. I mean, come on, glasses guy energy, anyone? And he might secretly be responsible for a disastrous event that's about to happen. Meanwhile, this sick-looking businessman is approached on the plane. He insists that this letter must be delivered to Frederick Downing of the Will Pharma Company, and it's an urgent matter. Senator Ron scolds his workers for the news of his arrival being leaked, complaining about this disgusting cup of coffee, before demanding that the protesters be taken care of. His assistant proposes they head out through an alternate exit, but the senator stubbornly refuses, and that's when he's secretly escorted out of the airport, as Ronnie here points him out, being instantly questioned by a news reporter before bumping into this man dressed as a zombie. Claire tells the little girl to stay put, and whips his mask off, scolding the TerraSave protester for crossing the line. Little do they know that this is a sign of things to come, and that's when the man runs off before running into this police officer who grabs him, questioning if Claire was involved with the situation. Spotting another dressed-up protester, the officer walks over and grabs him by the head, but suddenly his neck gets gouged out as civilians storm out of the airport. Ron's security guard demands that the zombie stays back, physically pulling the man off of him and shooting the supposed protester dead. Claire here tries to warn them before it's too late, but the officer comes back to life, biting Ron's security guard, and he's overwhelmed by zombies. She struggles to find Ronnie in the chaos, spotting her and running, bumping into this man who she recognizes as Curtis Miller. Claire finds the little girl before she's interrupted by Senator Ron, who begs for assistance. Oh boo-hoo, save me. Screw that. And that's when a gigantic plane comes crashing down through the terminal. All hell has broken loose, and it's about to get a whole lot worse. Claire watches as dozens of zombies jump out of the plane, ready to eat them alive. Okay, this is the most classic zombie movie experience of all time, folks. We've got hordes of zombies ready to infect and prey on our blood, an innocent child that's annoying as hell, and to top it off for the remainder of this movie, we have no firearm that we could use to easily kill these bad boys. However, there's one absolutely huge advantage that this girl Claire has: experience. This innocent-looking lady has already been in an incident before in Raccoon City, where she was forced to fight her way out of a number of stressful situations, to say the least. She knows a lot about these infected, and one of the most important aspects of taking them out is aim for the head. Don't shoot them in the body. While it might not be the most helpful of advice considering that we don't have guns, we should quickly ask Senator Ron over here if he has any concealed firearms on him. It's unlikely that a member of Congress would have a gun on him, but it's definitely worth a try. Or if possible, we could try to swipe a gun from the dead security guard. Either way, at the end of it, we should definitely ditch this fat, ugly bastard behind, because the only purpose he serves is to slow us down. He looks evil as hell, and I'm sure the citizens of the US don't care if he lives or dies. Going back to the situation at hand, it looks like we're stuck in this terminal with infected coming from both behind and in front of us, leaving us with only a few options. We either head left or right. Now, going right seems like the simpler option. If there's a wall there, it might be full of zombies, so I say let's try the other way. You might be thinking that there's no way we could head left, considering that there would be a massive drop from the terminal to the runway. But that's not where we're headed, folks. If you look closely, we can see that the plane is just crashed in the terminal and has landed at a perfect spot. Obviously, we'd rather not have the plane be here at all, but I gotta work with what I got, folks. If we look up to the top left corner of where we're situated, we can see that the plane has a clear pathway onto the roof of the terminal. Claire here is light enough to climb up onto it and make her way to the roof, leaving good old Senator Ron here to fend for himself and giving us a way to call for help from above. Considering that this is likely to be a national, if not worldwide disaster event with hundreds already dead, helicopters should probably be circling the place in no time, which will be great for me because we can use that to escape and we can safely wait it out without having any zombies trying too much to munch on our flesh yet. Meanwhile, a lockdown has occurred around the airport terminal with hordes of innocent civilians being trapped inside the area. This grisly-looking police chief Greg walks into a military tent, watching as his co-worker Angela screams to her boss about an urgent matter. Greg informs her that the terminal has just been blocked up and they were attacked by 2 infected, catching them and locking the 2 up. He asks if the Will Pharma Corporation drug is responsible for these killer zombies and listens to Angela suggest that it's a terrorism event. She mentions that a special agent from the White House has been sent in when suddenly the man himself walks in. Leon S. Kennedy introduces himself to the special response team officers and they quickly show him the 911 calls being sent in, and he hears a voice note from Claire instructing dispatchers to find her in the VIP lounge west of the Rivals lobby. It's an urgent matter and they don't have much time before everyone inside the terminal is dead. Angela tells them that the targets are stuck inside the VIP lounge for Atmos Airlines, with the terminal's main entrance and 2 side entrances being closed off. She suggests that they fly in through the roof, but Leon says nope, bad idea. He insists that he only takes Greg and Angela to avoid having the whole crew that's around them shooting their friends, and they reluctantly agree. And Leon gives them the down low on the zombies. Those infected with the virus will attack any human on sight. Only a bullet to the brain will truly kill them. So in short, pretty classic standard zombie scenarios, but there's going to be hundreds of them for our heroes to mow down. We gotta hold up for a second and assess the situation at hand. We all know that Leon here seems like an absolute badass capable of taking on any zombies, we know this, but he's way too overconfident. If he thinks that he's going in with only 3 people is going to be an efficient plan. There's strength in numbers, folks, and it looks like the military that came in here to take care of the issue has a whole lot of firepower that could be, I don't know, useful. If I were Leon, I would question why this special response team doesn't have any heavier firearms we could borrow to help us take down the zombies. SRTs are groups of trained professionals with the purpose of responding urgently to life-threatening situations. And on top of that, we know exactly where our target is and should be wary of anybody else inside, human or zombie. The virus that's infecting this zombie has already spread around the world. We don't know how long it takes to infect, what causes the infected to hunt down human flesh, but to be honest, it doesn't matter. Leon here is about to go in headfirst into a giant terminal with only a pistol in hand for some strange reason, but getting overwhelmed by zombies and getting shredded to bits is not exactly my idea of a good time. And since they're also headed into enemy territory, I would say it's probably better that we equip with better protection, better weapons, in order to ensure their mission has a higher chance of success. And it makes me wonder if they ever thought of maybe, I don't know, having some sort of special zombie armor that would make it impossible for somebody to get bitten? Cause come on, are we assuming that the infected suddenly have extremely sharp teeth and can suddenly pierce any material known to man? Even having a bulletproof helmet and a scarf would provide another layer of protection that could mean a difference between life and death. Moving on, their plan as a whole, attacking the terminal from the roof, isn't a terrible idea. They're starting from the high ground and can easily observe any zombies attacking while descending through the fire exit. However, we gotta assume that there's hordes of zombies that we need to fight through in an enclosed staircase, and there's a high chance of someone getting bitten along the way. So maybe it might be a better option to take this helicopter we're using to survey the area, check the VIP lounge from the air, and determine a better route of entrance from there. The group rappels down onto the roof and gets ready to breach, opening the door while Leon here inspects their surroundings. They head down the fire exit, walking into this empty hallway, and Angela gestures for the others to continue on, heading the same direction while Leon warns her of potential zombies. She finds herself in this messy room with a man lying lifelessly on the ground, and Angela picks him up, insisting that help will be coming soon, and she comes to find out that it's a zombie. But Leon manages to pull her away before a horde of infected surrounds the two. Somehow, she didn't listen to any of the instructions that she was given and nearly got herself killed. This girl is an absolute train wreck of a liability. She's gotta go. Leon pushes the terrified girl back and guns down multiple zombies while Angela here stupidly orders an infected to stop moving towards her. She fires around into the zombie's legs, shocked that it's still trying to bite her. Greg here insists that she leaves now as the man guns down an entire room, making making a really big mistake. He cheers himself for a job well done while walking outside only to be ambushed through this glass window. Leon saves him just in time, insisting that he be smarter and save his ammo. They notice more zombies coming through the broken-in wall, and they run off to continue their mission. Meanwhile, Claire and the others are stuck in the VIP lounge, hearing a human-like scream from outside. She demands that they help while her group begs the girl to stay. Claire tells Ronnie that she'll be okay, walking outside with only an umbrella to defend herself. She calls out for anyone to show themselves while turning a corner. She runs down this empty hallway before light is shown on her face, being ordered to crouch down as Leon kills multiple zombies around her. Claire recognizes her old teammate and questions what he's doing here, staring directly at the VIP they just saved. Back in the lounge, Ron is shocked to hear that there are no reinforcements coming. Leon tells him that the plan is to simply run through the lobby with the area being spaced out enough to maneuver through zombies. And Claire here supports his mildly crazy, idiotic idea, pissing off Senator Ron, who questions why they should listen to an NGO member such as herself, and Leon insists that she's qualified, revealing her to be one of the only survivors from the Raccoon City incident. The group fights their way through the lobby when suddenly Greg here is pushed against the wall by an infected. He manages to shoot the zombie off, but gets bit in the process. Now he's going to turn, and there's no way to save our poor old friend here. Terrified, Senator Ron tells the others as Claire moves forward, being told to stay back by her co-worker, and he decides to take one for the team and insists that they move on without him, and that is the first man down, and there's a whole lot more of them to go. Later, Claire helps the injured senator up to his feet, and Ron complains about his injuries before spotting a horde of zombies up ahead. Questioning if they'll make it out alive, Leon reminds him that they have a clear view of the exit, telling the group to stay focused. That's when another group of zombies emerge from the plane's interior. Seeing this, Ron rushes through the exit, pushing Ronnie down as he selfishly escapes. Okay, Greg, absolute legend. It was sad to see him go, but even that could have been avoided if they just approached this situation with a little bit more caution. There's two separate situations which need some analytical genius. The easiest thing to do would be to leave Senator Ron, like I said before, leave his old ass behind because he's proving again to be a massive liability. What they could have done easily is to let one of the people not shooting guns to take care of Ron here. Even though Claire might be helping Ronnie along, she's got a free hand to guide the senator to their destination, with Greg having both free hands to shoot down the zombie horde and his attention focused on only one thing only. He probably would have avoided being trapped against the wall and would have avoided being given an untimely death. The only other option might be to give the senator a gun of his own. If he doesn't know how to shoot, just aim and pull. Give him a 5-second rundown and let him loose on those infected. However, knowing our good old friend Ron, he might just try to use this to shoot me while I'm not looking. But even with all of this, is there any reason to shoot the zombies at all? They're not exactly the Usain Bolt of the zombie world, and the ones that Greg were shooting weren't obstructing our pathway out of the terminal. So what was the point of trying to take out all of them? Also, why is Claire here not equipped with some sort of firearm? Leon already told the others that she was a survivor of the Raccoon City incident, which means she's a total badass that's already desensitized and has already murdered hundreds, if not thousands of infected. If anything, she should be the one manning one of the assault rifles. Moving on to the outer terminal, Leon here already knows that there's a clear pathway to the exit where they can maneuver around without having to constantly fight off hordes of zombies. Instead of maybe not standing in one secluded spot where they can easily be cornered, their chances of survival would have increased dramatically if they just kept moving. Also, why does Leon here insist on using handguns? I guess it's just for dramatic flair. I don't know. The girl looks up to see the infected creeping straight towards her, screaming before Claire rushes over to help. Leon tries to help them as he's attacked on his own and all sides are being overwhelmed. Throwing Claire his gun, she pulls off a really badass kick and easily dispatches the zombie horde. The group reunites after taking out every single infected, and Claire questions where the senator ran off to. Ron makes it outside to the exit, and Leon guides them outside towards the light. They're finally safe from the zombie threat, but not for long. Angela looks back as the Marines enter the terminal, and Leon calls out to her. Leon looks back to see the officer clenching her fist. After settling in, Leon calls up his co-worker Hunnigan, who congratulates him on a successful mission. She found out that the T-virus is responsible for this outbreak and already submitted a plan to the president, vaccinating every Marine before they infiltrated the terminal. Hunnigan adds that the FBI captured a member of General Grande's army and is awaiting the interrogation results for answers. Meanwhile, Claire here spots a group of Will Pharma trucks rolling into the camps. She confronts them on their presence here before the gray-haired man Frederick returns, telling her that it's the vaccine. Ron introduces him as the head designer for Will Pharma, and Leon interrupts to assure her that the information is true. But hearing this, Angela freaks out at him, and Frederick blames TerraSafe's constant protests for their inability to vaccinate those in the terminal beforehand. Being led with the NGO, Claire blames herself for the death of innocent civilians, while Leon insists that it's the Umbrella Corporation's fault, with the failed company's T-virus continuing to haunt them until today. But that's when an explosion occurs outside of of the group, and they arrive to see a massive fire where the trucks were. Shocked, Frederick tells them that most of the vaccines inside of these vehicles have just been lost. Senator Ron insists that Leon reveal what the bioterrorists want, being strong-armed for the truth behind which US government officials were involved in the Umbrella Corporation. If it isn't exposed in 4 hours, they'll spread the T-virus to every state in the US, and Claire suggests that she already knows about the identity of a potential terrorist and mentions the long-haired man, Curtis Miller. Okay, this might sound like the deadliest threat ever to hit the United States, but I think it's maybe time we call their bluff a little bit. There's some secret bioterrorist organization that's trying to ruin the world again, and they're trying to threaten an entire country in order to achieve their goals. Now, we barely have any idea what's going on, but it's extremely unrealistic to think that this would be possible in any way, shape, or form. At this point, I would pass quits and move to a foreign country where these viruses don't exist. It's a huge pain in the butt, as we all know, and I don't want to be subject to a sudden lockdown if the virus went out of hand. There's now been multiple zombie outbreaks in the Resident Evil universe, which should now come as no surprise. The entire world should be on constant alert that another virus will pop up out of thin air, and they should be equipping every single citizen of the US with automatic machine guns just in case they spot any zombies roaming around. First of all, isn't it suspicious that these vans with the important vaccines suddenly caught on fire? That's an extremely good sign that things are about to go terribly wrong. And now, we can't even inoculate people from that threat, which means that the virus will spread even more. If I were Leon or Claire, I would call it quits. We've been through a terrible disaster with Raccoon City incident already, and knowing the Resident Evil series, these lettered viruses are never going to end. With all the money at our disposal, I would propose that we move to another country where we will never have to hear about any sort of bioterrorism shenanigans ever again. Some of the smaller islands of the world like American Samoa, Norfolk Island, or Tonga are great places to shack up for the time being. We can wait it out while we have someone else deal with the threat while we kick back, relax on these beautiful, beautiful shores. Senator Ron recognizes the name as a protester when suddenly Angela reveals that Curtis is her older brother. But she insists that the man isn't responsible while Ron refuses to believe her, causing her to storm off. Later, Angela is caught packing her weapons as Leon confronts the girl, and they head off to go find her brother, arriving at a massive fire where his house once was. She finds an old family picture and reveals that his wife and child were both killed during the Raccoon City incident. Meanwhile, Claire finds Frederick here heading off to his office, asking what he's up to. The man offers to buy her a cup of coffee, and he drives them to his office, tapping his keycard to get in and finds out that it's not working. Confused, Frederick puts in the master code, which grants them access to his gigantic workplace. He shows Claire a layout of the entire facility with the danger levels assigned from 1 to 4, being used as a way to stop something like Raccoon City from ever happening again. Showing off level 0, he explains that the research offices, meeting rooms are more available there, showing Claire the facilities in person. He receives a call from Senator Ron, who scolds him from taking her into his workplace, mysteriously telling him that this is his chance. Frederick hangs up the phone and reveals that she's not allowed to see anything here, seriously assuring her that there is no classified information that would cause any problem. But Frederick changes his mind and mentions that there is one thing Senator Ron wants hidden. He shows off the notorious G virus, a rarer kind of virus which can turn people into unrecognizable beasts. Frederick admits that it's a secret even inside of the company and was obtained from the black market. He admits that they thought it could create a vaccine, knowing that it might cause a worldwide crisis if weaponized. But now the plans are stuck in level 4, with the senator who banned research is part of the same committee that bombed Raccoon City. Claire rushes to call Leon, and Frederick here notices that the servers have crashed and leaves the room to fix it. Meanwhile, Angela insists that she'll be the one to stop her brother as Leon here is called, being informed by Claire of the situation, and that's when she gets a call on the office phone. Claire picks up to hear Frederick over the phone, informing her that he's in level 4, saying that he saw someone suspicious inside and she needs to escape as there's a time bomb inside. Suddenly, she spots Curtis here holding a briefcase. An explosion sounds off before Leon's phone line is cut off. Claire is knocked out from the blast, waking up to see the office building in ruins. She notices a piece of glass stuck in her leg, and like a cold ice queen rips it out. Leon and Angela make their way inside and find the map showing some sections to be blocked. She comes up with a great idea that they split up, and Angela runs off, being reminded that she's now officially part of the squad. He finds an injured Claire in the hallway, who reveals that a time bomb was found in level 4 where the G virus is being kept, seeing Curtis walk out of that specific section. Meanwhile, Angela finally seeing her brother after 3 years, she watches him keel over and insists that he gets medical attention, and he asks why is he hurting people, and Curtis admits that he couldn't let go of what happened in Raccoon City, watching the government rewrite history. Now he wants them to confess the truth. Curtis stands up and all of a sudden begins to convulse, and armed men run in to confront him, and his body morphs and expands and turns into a horrifying monster right in front of their eyes. This is really bad. This guy has a depressingly tragic backstory, and now he's obviously not thinking straight. A man with nothing to lose is going to do everything in his power, and now he's turned himself into a hugely ugly beast with no turning back. There's no way that Angela is getting her brother back, and she needs to get over that and realize this right now. Emotions aside though, what can we do to take on this humongous monster? Well, first of all, these soldiers seem pretty damn stupid. Allowing this guy to evolve might have just cost everyone here their lives. If they're going to storm in here like they mean business and not shoot their guns, then what's the point of even being here? They literally had a split-second chance to catch Curtis before he completed the mutation, and they could have taken him out and gone back home for breakfast. But now they're going to have to deal with the consequences. Judging from the size of this beast, it's safe to assume that the bullets probably won't harm him so much. So let's completely forget about taking Curtis on with conventional means. He's probably clocking in at least 400 pounds right now, looking like he just got off Ronnie Coleman's steroid cycle. Now, while his upper body might be massive, we need to take a closer look at this creature to identify certain weaknesses that Angela and the soldiers could take advantage of. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. If we were to have the soldiers distract Curtis and we were to try and tie a rope around his leg, we could make him fall pretty damn hard. However, it doesn't exactly look like these guys have any rope on them, so screw that idea. So at this point, it's going to sound extremely simple, but if I were Angela, I would just simply run. Curtis is going to be extremely distracted, so let these guys shoot at him and waste their lives because nobody cares about these faceless soldiers. If I were you, I bet you do the exact same thing. Either way, we know that Curtis's new form is going to grant him practically unlimited powers, which probably won't be stopped with a few measly assault rifles. So I say, let's run! Leon here shoots a group of zombies and directs Claire down this corridor to another elevator, handing her a gun. The soldiers unload fire onto Curtis's monstrous form, while the girl screams out for her brother. The leader orders his men to stop shooting, noticing that Curtis has been severely wounded, and that's when an announcement is made revealing that a lethal viral strain has been detected in the garden sector, and they watch Curtis stand back up and lunge towards them. The soldiers fight off Curtis's monstrous form, but unfortunately they get completely overwhelmed in the process. It's an absolute bloodbath, and this monster isn't going down without a fight. This soldier shoots a missile at Curtis, being instantly deflected onto a bridge overhead, and crushing this man. Angela here slowly realizes what's going on, and knows that her brother is a bloodthirsty monster. Leon interrupts, ordering her to move away as he aims a grenade launcher at this overhead bridge. He fires off multiple rounds and runs off along with Angela, narrowly avoiding the collapse as it lands on the monster. Spotting an injured soldier, Leon walks over to help him up, and this disinfectant chemical is emitted throughout the whole building. Suddenly, an announcement informs them that incineration will occur in 5 minutes, with all the exits now being sealed. Leon orders them all to the central rest area, not realizing that Curtis isn't dead yet. They send off the soldiers into the rest area, while heading back to see the monster reappear, and he's angrier than ever. And Leon stops Angela from shooting her gun in case she ignites the entire garden section into flames. Curtis here jumps onto the bridge and continues his way upstairs to where the soldiers are being transported, killing them all. The entire structure begins falling apart, forcing Leon and Angela to run, while gigantic glass shards fall onto the ground, barely avoiding this near-death experience. They're separated by the glass as he begs Angela to run, but she's not able to hear. Looking up, she sprints from the falling elevator, checking it to see a bloody scene inside. Oh, that's gross. Curtis here is definitely not playing around, and he's out for blood. But let's take a step back and see what these two have gotten themselves into. Everyone else around them now is dead. The entire place is probably going to burst in flames in seconds, and now they've been separated by a gigantic wall of glass that nearly impaled both of them. This sounds like their luck is going great. If I were Leon, I'd probably leave my little love interest behind and run for the exit. It seems like Curtis here has an obsession for his sister, because that means she's being targeted over us. However, Leon's a stand-up guy, which means he's probably not morally capable of just ditching her. There's not really any options that would help our chances of survival in this situation. We've just seen the monster jump like 500 freaking meters into the air and kill a group of armed soldiers right before our very own eyes. So maybe we should just accept that there's nothing that we can do and hope that Curtis here decides to show a little mercy on poor us, the innocent people. But to avoid Angela here being nearly crushed by a falling elevator, Leon might have been better off gesturing for the girl to run instead of screaming through an insanely thick wall of glass that is probably able to mute any sound coming to the other side. But regardless, I guess we aren't going down without a fight. So looking at the situation around us, we might be able to break the thick glass with some sort of the debris around us. This might take too long, plus we have a huge mutated monster chasing after us and all. Knowing that the monster is going to come down at any second, we could take a chance and shoot this creature directly in its eye. But not just the big one. Curtis's monstrous form looks like it has 3 eyes. The big one and 2 small ones on his tiny head. This is a huge stretch, but if we could manage to shoot all 3 of his eyeballs, we might be able to blind the creature and focus on getting the hell out of here. She hears that incineration will begin in 60 seconds before Curtis drops down beside her, and Leon throws a knife directly into his eye. He explains that her brother is gone, wanting Angela for her blood connection as a breeding tool. With only 30 seconds left, they sprint out of the garden section while Curtis viciously chases after them. They're blown underwater from the blast, and Leon uses his mouth to feed oxygen into the girl's mouth. Meanwhile, cause hey looky, Claire's not dead, and she's limping into the control room and watches as this warning display shows the inner garden falling. She looks around for the control room while insisting there must be a way to disable the system, deciding it's a great idea to press these random buttons on the left of her, and she activates a display which gives her an option to decrease pressure inside of the building. Waking up, shoots a hole through this glass window, sending them all down into another hugely dangerous situation, with Leon dangling from his new girlfriend's arm for dear life. They manage to hold on until the water rushes out, but it's not over yet. Curtis appears from above, and Leon tells her that they need to go up. They reach upstairs where Leon guides Angela here across the top of the building, but they're interrupted by a certain monster once again. Curtis lets out a terrifying roar and sends Leon flying onto another rooftop as the security system announces that level 4 will drop very soon. Leon pulls off some crazy acrobatic maneuvers to avoid the fall. He climbs back up to see Curtis stalking his sister while realizing that there's another way around. Meanwhile, Claire hears that level 1 will be dropping in just 10 seconds, with an entire platform collapsing behind her. A terrified Curtis returns to his human self for a single second and begs his sister to run away, fighting the monster inside of him. Angela drops her gun and obeys his order, deciding to finish this once and for all. That's when level O is announced to drop in just 10 seconds. Leon grabs her from behind as the monster is sent dropping down, with him telling Angela that the building will shut after the system verifies that the virus is gone. Suddenly, she's grabbed from below as Curtis returns for yet another appearance. The two officers are now dangling for their life, and Angela begs Leon to let her go. That's when he points his gun towards Curtis here, letting off a bullet that penetrates his monstrous form skull, sending him flying down into a fatal drop as an explosion of fire erupts from the bottom, and the security system does its job. But the danger isn't over yet. The bridge they're dangling on collapses, sending the two down as it narrowly avoids killing them, and they somehow romantically end up in a rather interesting position. And Leon makes sure that she's okay, and they look at the absolute destruction, but Leon looks at this girl lovingly, staring at each other in the eye for a rather uncomfortable amount of time before he finally decides to check his phone. Okay, Leon here is definitely not your typical dating professional. He needs to stop stringing this innocent girl along and make a move already, because we can clearly see by the amount of time that they stared into each other's eyes that Angela is obviously in mad love with him. According to certain sources, eye contact for over 4 seconds may indicate feelings of love or romantic affection. I'd say it's over 4 seconds right now, and not only that, the physical component of them shaking hands really adds to the romantic tension. Plus, they're both pretty emotionless for the most part, so they truly do make a good couple. Now, I may be looking into this a little bit too much, but I'm sure that the advice would be appreciated if Leon would listen. All jokes aside, these two should be looking to get far away from this office building before someone pins the blame onto one of them. We have to remember that this entire debacle has now just caused a potential hundreds, if not thousands of workers to lose their lives, and a multitude of large towers, which is going to cost this company millions of dollars. Meanwhile, Claire here meets up with Senator Ron, who questions the whereabouts of Frederick. She reveals that the man is dead, with the vaccine data being deleted. The scientist was right all along. The government failed to fund development of the G virus, which has just caused another catastrophic event. She realizes that Ron has been a part of this, being present at the airport terminal just as the killer zombies attack. Claire confronts him on using this event as a way to avoid Will Pharma stock due to her company TerraSafe's accusations. He needed an excuse to use the vaccine, assuring her that he would never support bioterrorism, and pretends to not know what a G virus even is. Leon interrupts their argument to inform her that General Grande's communication man revealed an embarrassing secret. They've all been fooled, including the senator. And that's when they hear a bell sounding in the distance, and Claire realizes that she's just made a terrible mistake. The girl was being tricked all along by Frederick, and she had no idea. Meanwhile, the bioscientist speaks with the mysterious man over the phone, informing him that he will now be in possession of the T-virus and a vaccine. He plans to use this as a bargaining tool, telling the mystery man that he's owed money on the G-virus data, hanging up the phone. That's when a car arrives on the scene, and Frederick realizes that he's been set up. He urges Claire and Leon not to shoot, revealing that he has the last of the vaccine data. Suddenly, Angela shows up from behind and disarms the man, and he drops to his knees and begs for mercy. She brings the police to send this man to jail for a long time. Later, the group stares over at the building as Leon reveals what Frederick confessed. He's responsible for providing T-virus samples to the terrorists in India, selling them himself on the black market, stealing both T and G viruses while selling them as a set with vaccines included. And that's when he decided for a new start and found a job at Will Pharma, using their database to search for customers. And Leon here receives a call and tells the girl that it's time to go before walking off. He and Claire part their separate ways, ending another successful mission. However, the zombie threat is definitely not over.